Have you heard the chilling story of Robert Hanssen, the FBI agent who sold America's secrets to its enemies? He was a devout Catholic, a loving family man, and a respected FBI agent. But beneath this image, he led a double life. He outsmarted the FBI for years. And how did the FBI finally bring him down? Stay tuned because we're about to uncover the truth. This is the story of Robert Hanssen, the man who betrayed his country by selling its most sensitive secrets to Russia for over 20 years. He seemed like an ordinary man. Each day, he worked at the FBI, then went home to his wife and 6 children. On Sundays, he was always in church. But underneath this facade, he sold America's most classified intelligence to the Russians. He revealed the identities of US agents, leaked details about top-secret surveillance, and handed over the country's nuclear defense plans. And to understand how he pulled this off, we have to go back to where it all started. Hanssen's story begins in Chicago, where he was born in 1944. His father, a strict and often abusive police officer, ruled the household with an iron fist. As a child, Hanssen was introverted and isolated. He was drawn to books, particularly spy novels, where he found comfort in stories of secret agents, double lives, and betrayal. It wasn't just a fascination, it was an obsession. His childhood friends would later recall how Hanssen was captivated by tales of espionage. After high school, Hanssen tried various career paths, but none of them fit. He started off studying chemistry, then switched to dentistry, only to realize he wasn't passionate about either. Eventually, he found his calling in law enforcement, driven by a desire for power and authority. He joined the Chicago Police Department, working in an intelligence unit where he dealt with counterintelligence cases. This gave him his first taste of the secretive world he had long admired in his spy novels. Hanssen's fascination with the world of espionage was no longer just fiction. He was living it. And the truth of what was to come would be far darker than anyone could have imagined. In 1976, Hanssen applied to the FBI and was accepted. His background in accounting and his experience in intelligence made him a strong candidate, and he quickly started his training at the academy. Once he graduated, Hanssen began his 25-year career with the FBI, rising through the ranks and gaining access to highly classified intelligence. But even as his career advanced, Hanssen's desire for power continued to grow. By the mid-1980s, the temptation to exploit his access to US intelligence became too strong to resist. Hanssen, now trusted with America's most sensitive secrets, made a decision that would mark him as one of the most notorious traitors in history. In 1985, under the alias Ramon Garcia, Hanssen made contact with Soviet intelligence, offering to sell classified US information in exchange for cash. But for him, it wasn't just about the money. He craved the thrill of manipulating two opposing worlds, of being the one in control. To the outside world, Robert Hanssen was the perfect FBI agent and family man. He was deeply involved in his church, a member of Opus Dei, and sent his children to religious schools. His colleagues at the FBI knew him as a quiet, methodical man who always dressed in black, earning him the nickname Dr. Death. But behind the scenes, Hanssen was living a lie. For years, he led a double life, feeding classified information to his Russian handlers. He used secret drop sites, leaving packages of sensitive intelligence in plastic bags under bridges or in parks. His communication with the Russians was done through coded letters, never meeting them in person. While his family believed he was working late or attending church events, Hanssen was selling out his country. The information he passed to the Russians was devastating. He exposed the identities of US double agents in Russia, leading to their capture and execution. He revealed critical details about the FBI's surveillance operations, even leaking the existence of secret eavesdropping devices hidden within the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C. But it didn't stop there. Hanssen also provided the Russians with US nuclear defense plans, putting the country's security at risk. His betrayals cut deep. The information he leaked wasn't just paper. It was the lives and safety of American agents and operations. But how long could he keep living this double life before it all came crashing down? For 2 decades, he lived behind this carefully constructed mask. But underneath it all, Hansen was growing more paranoid. He began to suspect that the FBI might be onto him. Every strange noise on the car radio, every sideways glance from a colleague made him uneasy. He became convinced that he was being watched. What Hansen didn't know was that he was right. The FBI had finally started to put the pieces together, and the walls were closing in. By the late 1990s, the FBI had finally launched an internal investigation to uncover a mole within their ranks. For years, they had suspected that someone in the Bureau was leaking information, but they hadn't been able to figure out who. The breakthrough came when a Russian intelligence source provided the FBI with a file. Inside that file were documents, fingerprints, and a voice recording, all of which pointed directly to Robert Hansen. With this evidence, the FBI set up an intense surveillance operation, monitoring Hansen's every move. They documented his activities, including his dead drops for the Russians. In February 2001, after years of betrayal, Hansen's double life came to an end. He was arrested in a park in Virginia as he attempted to leave a package of classified materials under a footbridge. Surrounded by FBI agents, Hansen knew it was over. He thought he had outsmarted everyone. But in the end, the FBI had the final move. The question is, what happens when one of the most trusted agents becomes the greatest traitor? The magnitude of Hansen's betrayal was shocking. His actions led to the deaths of 2 American double agents and compromised countless operations. When asked why he did it, Hansen offered little explanation, only shrugging off the consequences of his actions. For him, it wasn't just about the money. It was about power and control. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He now sits in a maximum security facility, isolated from the world he once deceived. His family, devastated by his actions, has been left to pick up the pieces, bearing the weight of his betrayal. The FBI, too, was left to recover, implementing new safeguards to prevent such a breach from happening again. But the damage Hansen inflicted on U.S. intelligence and national security would be felt for years to come. The scars he left on American intelligence will never fully heal, and his story remains a chilling example of how far a man can fall when driven by greed and a hunger for power. If this story left you questioning just how deep the world of espionage can go, we have plenty more chilling stories lined up that will leave you questioning just how much of what you see is real. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe for more.